Well, one of the most common types of clients for us to get here at Greenleaf Property Management are investors that are sick of managing their own properties. And over the course of my career, I've been able to identify a handful of reasons why it's just easier for professionals to do this business than it is for amateurs. And so I thought I would share the top 5 of those with you guys here today. And then at the very end, I'll tell you the types of character traits you should have if you want to self-manage your own properties, and then I'll also identify the type of people that would be better off going straight to a licensed property manager. So let's go ahead and dive right into it with the first one, which is the power of focus. When you are focusing in on managing properties, you are pushing all of the other things outside of your lens. Okay, you're only there to manage properties. You've got one job, which is to ensure that that lease is administered properly. You're not having to deal with your day job. You're not having to deal with issues with family, with friends, with whatever. You're a professional. You're there for those to do your job as a professional, as a hired professional for your clients. That's just going to make you more focused in on what it is that you need to do to be successful. You're going to develop a routine. You're going to understand the timelines, the rhythm that property management follows month in, month out. As you develop your proficiency within it and specialize in this niche, you're just going to get better and better at it. It's going to lead to more efficient conversations. You're going to understand the rules and be much more confident when challenged by tenants on certain items, and just going to make you a better manager. And you're going to have much less of an emotional attachment. Business is business, so you're not going to have tenants finding it as easy to pull at your heartstrings, to compromise in ways that you really shouldn't have to as a landlord. And when you're focused in on your job, all of that stuff just becomes much more apparent, and you treat it like the business that it is, and you have more success as a result of that. The next reason is the gatekeeper effect, is what I call it, where just by virtue of being a professional property manager, you are not going to look appealing to a class of tenants that we call professional tenants. Tenants that know the rules, that look to victimize amateur landlords because they know the process of the Residential Tenancies Act better than than their landlord does. And that the sad fact is that happens all the time in property management. So being in place and having a licensed business, you're not going to attract the really rough tenants because they know they're not going to be able to get away with their games when dealing with a licensed property manager. But the opposite is also true for that, in that the best tenants who want to know that they are being managed by a licensed property manager, they're going to seek out professional property management companies because they might not want to live in a place that's being run by a slumlord, by being run by someone who isn't regulated. And so you can attract a lot of the best quality tenants when you're in the licensed space as well. In addition to that, tenants are going to expect processes and systems from professional property managers. And so it just makes it easier for licensed property managers to stand behind their processes and stand behind the rules when they're in a licensed space. If you're not licensed and you're not doing a lot of repetitions with property management, it can be a little bit easier to make concessions or to humanize the process more than it should be for the long-term success of your business. Volume and experience would be next on my list. So the more units that you're managing and the longer that you're managing them for, just the more things that you've seen over and over again, and the more practice that you get in managing units and staying within this business. All right. So it's the same for whether you're picking up a new hobby or a new sport. The more of it that you're doing, the better at it that you get. If you're a self-manager and you're only managing a handful of units, it's just so easy to make mistakes, and so many things are happening to you where it's the first time that you're encountering this. Well, when you manage a lot of units and you've been doing it for a long time, there's just fewer and fewer firsts, which just allows you to build upon your experience. You know exactly what to say or do when the unexpected occurs, and just allows you to be more professional with your response to those items. Quicker responses and more processes, obviously. You're going to develop these processes as you're encountering things that you haven't encountered before, and you're going to be able to rely on your previous experience for when it happens to you again. So being in that industry and doing it all the time just makes you a better property manager. License and regulation has to be on this list. You might not know it, but you have to have a special license in order to be a property manager in Alberta. It's not an easy thing to get, and when your livelihood depends on it, and depends on you following the law, you're not going to bend or break for anybody, because this is a license requirement. You've got regulatory oversight on your actions. You can be reported to the regulator if you're an unethical landlord. And so it just makes it so much easier for professionals to stay within the ditches with respect to that stuff, and stand behind their processes that are designed to follow the rules and follow law all the time. So professional standards, of course, are going to come out while you're getting licensed. You're going to have to pass a test. You're going to have to know the Residential Tenancies Act. You're going to have to know the Real Estate Act, and you're going to have to know the rules that need to be followed and the rights that your tenants have and the rights that you have as a landlord. Just makes it easier for you to adhere to those standards and manage your businesses year in, year out. And it might be a silly thing, but no criminals, right? You have to pass a criminal record check, and you're audited every year, and you can be spot audited by the Real Estate Council of Alberta as well, which means bad people don't stay in the business for long. They get weeded out, they get caught. And so if you're dealing with a licensed and established business that's been in place for a long time, you can have a high degree of confidence that you're only going to find good people there. And good people's next up here with the network effect, all right? So when you're managing hundreds of units over well over a decade, you're going to meet people that are going to be in support of you and your clients' properties. And so the property managers will have somebody for everything. You've had a plumbing leak, you need an electrical problem fixed, you need a carpenter, you need a handyman. Property managers have all of these people in their virtual Rolodex that they can go to help solve the problems that come up within this business. And those vendors will count on property managers for their livelihoods as well. So all of the vendors that we use, we're a big client for them. We send them lots of consistent business. Our accounting systems are dialed in. We pay them quickly. They know that if they keep doing a good job for us, they're going to get the business next month too. And these are the relationships that we forge, and we can count on these vendors when we need them. And if you contrast this with an unlicensed or an amateur landlord that only has a handful of units, oh no, something happens, they might not know exactly who to call. They got to go on Google and look for reviews. It just takes longer, and is slower, and often more expensive than it is for a pro who just knows exactly where to go and what to say. And has referrals available for all sorts of real estate related services. So maybe your unit's running fine and you want to go buy another one. Well, your property manager is going to know an amazing realtor that they can send you to, or an amazing accountant, or they can send you to a specialist lawyer if needed to help you with something. So property managers have to know all of that stuff in order to keep their clients happy and keep their units under management for a long period of time. Okay, so who should self-manage? Well, certain personality types, if you're a really passionate real estate investor and you want to be on top of every little problem, if you're very frugal where a dollar is 100 pennies to you, then you should self-manage, because no one is going to be able to make you happy other than yourself when it comes to dealing with these problems as they occur, all right? If you're a young person learning the business, I think it's a great idea for you to manage your first few units yourself. I did, my business partner did, and that's where we learned that we could scale this up, and we wanted to be in this business for our careers, all right? And so if you're young in the business, I think it makes sense for you to try it out to see if this industry is the right fit for you. And then if you have unconventional types of real estate, so maybe you're doing short-term rentals, maybe you've got a mix of an owner-occupied and commercial type of element. Maybe you're doing like a rooming house or something really specialized or unique. Those types of unconventional situations aren't going to easily slot in with the professional systems and processes. And so for that type of real estate, often it makes the most sense for an owner to self-manage it. But who should hire a professional? Well, in my view, if your business is about building wealth in real estate, and you are growing your asset base and buying more properties, you don't want to be held up. You don't want a nickel holding up a dollar, right? You don't want a small problem diverting your attention, your focus away from raising capital and growing your business. And you should be hiring a professional property manager to systemize the management side of your business for you. If you're a well-established professional or business owner, where if you have an extra hour in your day, you should be spending it on your profession rather than managing your real estate, and you make more money that way and less stress, well, then you should hire a property manager to deal with your tenants and manage your units so that you can do your job or build your business outside of real estate and build your wealth that way. And if you're just looking to set it and forget it, if you love all the concepts with real estate wealth building, keeping units running smoothly and appreciating, but you don't want to deal with the day-to-day management details of it, well, go and hire a property manager so that you can take part in this incredible industry without having to deal with all of the baggage that's related to operating units smoothly. And that's what we do here, is we help owners manage properties smoothly over a very long period of time. If you're an investor, landlord in Calgary, we'd love to hear from you. Maybe we can give you a quote on how we would manage your properties and answer any questions you might have about us and our business here at Greenleaf Property Management. Well, thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope to see you again here on our next video in just a couple weeks' time.